The following video is based upon true crime content. Therefore, it may contain images and/or language that some find disturbing. For this reason, viewer discretion is advised. Hello, my friends. How are we this evening? It's Saturday night. Did y'all have a good day today? Weather seemed to be nice outside compared to what it's been like lately. Laura and I were just having a discussion about something. We were having YouTube back and forth. Let me ask you guys a question. Put a 1 in the chat if you have disliked, I'm not just talking about my channel, I'm talking about any channel on YouTube. If you've ever watched something and you've disliked the video, because you didn't like what the content was, you didn't like the person in the video. Let me see how I'm trying to say this. Like if we were, like for instance, she goes over Gacy and I go over various other criminals. Have you ever disliked a video because of the criminal, or do you dislike the video because you know you are disliking the work done? I know that's a weird question. We were just talking about it though, and I was like, I think that sometimes people watch like on the shorts and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, I hate this guy." Dislike, you know. I don't know. I don't know. Let me say hello to everybody. Jean P, good to see you. Hey, Miss Patty, Cindy, Laura, Dread, Claudette, JPC. And Mel was here earlier. I guess she's coming back. It's good to see everybody. Are you guys tonight? I don't know if we're gonna. I almost want to consider tonight kind of gossipy, because what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna talk about this case. We're gonna look at a lot of footage from the OnlyFans case and some background footage, some witness opinions. We're going to look at a few emails. We've got a couple of disputes between Courtney and all that. We're going to look at lots of stuff. Patty said, "I would never dislike a video because the bad person in it. That's a mark against the content creator." So most people do know that. Okay. I actually never disliked a video on anyone because I feel like they put in the time to do it. I usually like every video, even if I didn't love it. Well, thank you, Dread. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. Laura and I have been having various discussions about YouTube lately because she's trying to get her, she's having a lot of questions about different stuff. And you guys, we watched her video the other night on Thursday night, and there was some technical difficulty. Now, if I understand correctly, Laura, you put the video back up. So if you guys came on Thursday night and you couldn't find it, she had to take it down and then redo it. So it's back up, and I'm going to tell her if she does have it back up or if she's planning to redo it, to please put that link in the chat tonight so you guys can go and watch it. It's on, of course, John Wayne Gacy. One moment, guys. Frankie's barking, and I'm not sure what he's barking about, but he's not a big barker, so bear with me. Oh, he wants to come in the office. I have to close the door to the office because Huckleberry wants to come in and go stir crazy and have zoomies. And it's a small area, and we just can't have that while we're live. All right. It was good. It was a really good video, wasn't it? It's always so interesting, that case. Ugh. I swear, Laura, what I'd love to do is an interview with you on that case. I think there's a lot of people have questions, and I think it would be awesome if we did like an interview style thing with you, and we took questions in the chat and stuff, because a lot of people are still trying to wrap their brain around exactly how much you were around that, and how close your grandmother was to his grandmother and so forth. So, all right, y'all are here for Clenney. So let's get to this. I'm trying to think of what I want to show you guys first. We looked at the Vegas footage recently, and I think this these text messages came from I think it came from Vegas. I'm not positive. I've got to go back and look at the timeline, but I did a little thing on the text messages, so we'll watch that really quick. The crazy thing about all of this is that yesterday when you stabbed me in the leg and you saw how bad it was hurting me and I couldn't walk and I couldn't do shit, and you were telling me I wish I could take your pain away. I wish it was me and not you. The next morning I still woke up happy. I still gave you a day even though my leg was hurting because my girlfriend stabbed me. So you're telling me you can't do the same thing the next day and say, whatever happened last night, today's a new day, because that's what I do for you. I woke up happy. I took you to Vegas to get your effing drove back right back. To get your effing drove right back. Helped you shoot. I don't know what that means, but that's interesting to me. Drank with you, did blow with you, just so you're having a great day. And I'm doing all this while my leg hurts so effing bad. Did I make you feel like shit for stabbing me? No, I just sucked it up and hoped tomorrow would be better. Courtney's response: if you decide to get security, call. I'll tell them exactly what happened. Hey, I'm sorry. If it's okay, can I come back up? I know you said 5 minutes, but I've been in the restroom. My nose is bleeding and the back of my head hurts, like really hurts. I don't know if it was your hand or the phone, but I'm really dizzy. I'm putting your stuff up. You can come get it when I say you can. Courtney again. Go to first aid. Christian to Courtney. They have to take me somewhere. My shirt was off walking through the casino so I wouldn't get blood on it. Can you open the door, please? And you were pounding the phone on my head when I was done. It's okay, but can you let me in? I don't feel good, please. Courtney, can you open the door? I don't feel good and there's a bump on the back of my head. Can you just let me in? I'll be on the couch while you're in the bed. I don't want my nose to bleed and go back and forth downstairs to the restroom. It's making me nauseous. I'm getting anxious and you know how I get. Can you please let me in and help me, please? We don't need to say a word. I haven't eaten and running on 2 hours of sleep and drugs. Please open the door. Courtney, I don't feel good. Open the door for real. This isn't cool. I have a lump on the back of my head and I'm dizzy and anxious and I can't keep walking up and down when my leg hurts. Come on. Courtney, can you please come get me? I'm not feeling too hot and I need to lay down with this ice pack. I can't see straight. I've been sitting in the restroom for an hour. Courtney, this is fucked up. I have a lump on my head and I'm bleeding and I have anxiety. Can you answer your phone? Courtney, can you let me in? You hit me in the face with a phone, then you continue to hit the back of my head with the phone. Now I have a lump. I'm bleeding, throwing up. Think I got a mild concussion and have anxiety. I slept in the restroom for 2 hours and I'm just lost beyond words. All I hope for is a better day tomorrow. You can let me in or not. I apologized before. You said you were kicking me out and you spit on me. No matter how mad and tough gets. You don't treat the one you love that way. State fair is tomorrow. Be ready. Well, I'm really sorry, Christian. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry for hitting you in the face and the back of the head and spitting on you. Is it right? No. You just blank me, blank off, but still love you. I don't know about the fair anymore. Maybe I'll have a change of heart after some rest. The latch will be off. I'm going to bed. Don't say anything until the morning. We can talk then. Now, this obviously is the following day where she's woken up and she's sober. I just read these texts and I'm truly very sorry for responding like that while you were in pain. I should have let you in clearly. I didn't realize you might have had a mild concussion. I should have come back with the medicine. I love you. I'll be back soon. She manipulated this man. She held her money over his head. She paid for everything, the hotel rooms, the apartment, everything. So whenever she got ready, she could say, get out. She always had the power to say, get out. And he had no choice but to get out. So he's walking on eggshells around her constantly when she gets in these moods. And he's constantly lifting her up. in the one video in Aspen. He's lifting her up. He's trying to tell her how badass she is. Then she blames him because she says, because of you, I don't do other. And I think what she's talking about is in her OnlyFans videos, she doesn't do any work with other men because of her relationship with Christian. She only works with women. Okay, so that was in Vegas, and that was there because he mentions walking around the casino. Okay, but here's my question. We watched the video of when she became arrested, and that was the night, that day that she was arrested, they were supposed to be leaving. So this fight was an additional fight then that must have happened prior to her being arrested. I mean, it's not the same fight, I don't believe. What do you guys think? Maybe it is the same, and they didn't bring them in to discuss it with them until the following morning. I don't know. That's just really strange. I would think that it would, because it was the following morning. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning, I think, when they were talking to them. And they said they hadn't gotten much sleep at all. So not sure at all. Oh, hey, Route. Happy birthday, my friend. I would sing happy birthday to you Marilyn Monroe style, but I would really like to keep my viewers. Well, God bless you. I'm so glad you're spending your day with us. Yeah, there's no times on the text messages, and so that did make it difficult to kind of see. And I don't know if that was done on purpose or what, but Laura says she thinks that the day before the arrest, she let him back and they got into it again. I do too. I felt like it was two different incidents. It's just insane, you guys. I mean, it's just like every day was a new day with that, like a new day of fighting. And he even says that tomorrow's a new day. Like it kind of goes to tell you that in his thought process, he's like, okay, tomorrow's maybe different. It might be different tomorrow. Like that's what he was really hoping for. But was it ever really? Oh, all right. Let's listen to this other thing I've got here where we have a few witnesses that speak about her. Now, we don't know. Okay, first of all, these witnesses have not been vetted. Their information has not been vetted 100%. I don't know. But it's interesting to hear the take that you get from some of the people that worked at the apartment complex, and then what you get from people around the apartment complex and other places. So let's watch this.
But decided to wait until she had officially been charged. But Courtney and Toby lived directly above me in Austin for 2 years. They lived in the penthouse of our apartment building, and there was always some kind of arguing, fighting, banging on the floor, glass being broken. I know they had the cops called on them multiple times. One occasion, there was a bunch of blood and hair in the elevator. On another occasion, they threw a painting off their balcony. It ended up landing on our balcony. The painting was actually really cool. It was of a tiger, so we ended up keeping it. But it's really just an unfortunate situation. I'm really thinking for Toby's family and hoping that they can get through this difficult time.
All right, give me a ride up in that elevator to the room so I can take that up too. Is there any blood in the hallway, anything like
Everywhere.
that? Everywhere.
The dogs, the hallway,
No.
the bed.
What floor are you?
On this side.
Yeah, right here?
Yeah. You can go in the service elevator. Service elevator.
Right here, yeah. Look at that. Hey, you know what? No.
So possibly she's possibly the suspect.
Who?
The girl.
Upstairs?
Yeah, because they're always fighting, they're always fist fighting. She wants to commit suicide.
Yeah, she's in that fight, and got into it, and choking on.
And every time the police came,
Oh,
the story
shit.
forward. Every time the
Okay.
police came, she would offend him, defend him. Oh, no, we never did anything. And
So I heard they came here last week.
Yeah, she could have been dead.
4322.
4322.
Go by right on the 3.
OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney drunkenly propositioned a teenager near her parents' home 3 months after unaliving her boyfriend in Miami. And she also threatened to burn his house down when he rejected her. In June of 2022, Clenney was staying with her parents and was walking her dogs when she approached a local 18-year-old. Clenney told the teenager she was drunk. The boy said she was visibly intoxicated, and she also asked him to walk her home. When Clenney started getting too close to him, the boy became uncomfortable and texted his father to say that he felt uncomfortable, and his father came out and confronted Clenney. He said she became aggressive and began cursing, then shoved him, and he called the police. The father told police an intoxicated female came up to his son and is stumbling everywhere. The deputy arrived and spoke with Clenney's mother, Deborah Clenney, who said her daughter wasn't supposed to be drinking and apologized for her behavior. The police report states, when asked if Courtney was intoxicated, her mother, Deborah, advised she believed she was. Deborah further stated Courtney should not be consuming alcohol as it does not respond well with her. Deborah then explained that Courtney recently moved back to the area and was staying with them until she moves into her own home next week. Deborah further advised Courtney will be entering outpatient treatment for alcohol starting Monday. Another deputy spoke with Clenney, noting in the reports that she had watery eyes and a strong odor of alcohol on her. Courtney adamantly denied shoving anyone and stated that that was not in her character. At this point, Courtney became emotional and explained that she's been going through a really hard time lately and had recently moved in with her parents. The father declined to press charges, but did not know that Clenney had recently been involved in the unaliving of her boyfriend.
She approached him, what my son said, visibly intoxicated. And she's like, hey, what's your name?
According to an incident report obtained by NBC6, Clenney approached an 18-year-old and asked him to walk her home. He agreed, but according to Jovan, the 18-year-old's father, things got weird when they stopped to sit down.
So they sat there, and she's like, kiss me. And he's like, no, kiss me, no. If you don't kiss me, I'm going to burn the she said, I'm going to burn your house. I'm going to burn that down. That's what she said. I'm going to burn that down.
The father says his concerned teen texted him and he showed up immediately. That's when he says things allegedly got physical.
Then she freaked out. She approached me and she started slapping me as I was standing in between her and my son. She started slapping like this, nothing major.
Neither Jovan nor his son knew about the murder of Christian Obumseli and that Clenney killed him.
If I knew what I learned the following day, I would press charges. I would have. I promise you. I didn't know.
Jovan says this about Clenney's character.
I'll tell you that person is aggressive. That person is inclined to hurt somebody else, especially when she's under influence. I can tell you, I'm not a judge or a jury. I can tell you that person is disturbed.
So that was the one incident in Austin in her parents' neighborhood that I did want to talk about. But I was also, did you guys catch what the apartment manager said? It was almost gossipy what he said. I don't know. It was very quick and all that. But Irish, before you leave, let me just show you something really quickly, my friend. Gotta do this. Gotta do this. Gotta do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Irish.
Happy birthday to you. Ding dong.
Hee hee. That was fun. Yeah, Bama, if you don't feel good, honey, take the night off. Go rest. We love you. Okay, the next piece I want to look at is witness run-ins. Let's continue on with the witness run-ins with Courtney Clenney. I got so many pieces here to show you guys.
I wanted to make this video a few months ago, but
Right, but she didn't mention none of that until she says she wants to do something about it, that's where we step in, where it's a criminal activity, but she needs to mention something about that. Okay. Unfortunately, we can't do anything.
He says he took this video in February, 2 months before the fatal stabbing. The video doesn't have audio, but the neighbor says he heard the couple from the 12th floor.
We just started hearing them arguing, and he started eating real quick, and, you know, she was being a little aggressive, trying to jump in the water.
Newly released text messages giving us another glimpse into the relationship between an OnlyFans model and the boyfriend she's accused of killing. The texts were obtained by the Miami Herald and were sent from Christian Obumseli to Courtney Clenney just weeks before he was killed. Now, on one occasion, he claimed that he was stabbed by his girlfriend in the leg so badly he could barely walk.
This is a different text message segment, you guys.
He also talked about being subjected to violence, saying, quote, "Is love going to kill me?" And talked about being called racial slurs, getting cheated on, and slapped on his stitches.
Anyway, I was sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you. You're hindering my progress.
You need to sit down. You need to sit
Let
down.
go of me. Let go of me.
Come on.
Let go of me.
Okay.
Come on, boy. Let go of me. I can't even, I'll try to hit you later. Get the off me.
You don't want to hit me?
Christian, he saw me, and I know he's looking. I'm fed up with you. I'm fed up with how you treat me. Yes, I'm not mad at you.
You let Malala say some lying ass that affected you.
I didn't let her say anything. You did it.
Hey, let's go to Malala right now. Let's pull up to her.
No. I'm just gonna hear the scenes.
No, she's in the group chat. Let's put her on the phone right now.
I dare you.
Yeah, you dare me? Keep saying
you
it.
You do it.
Then stop saying it then.
Do it.
Then stop saying it then. Then stop saying it then.
Let's look. Come on.
Let me get my phone. Ask her. Did I touch her breast yesterday?
Do you see how good if he is?
No, you're telling me I touched her breast yesterday when I.
You did. I didn't say you touched it.
You said I did.
You were leaning. Yo, you were dumb as. I actually don't want to be with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Done. Because you're costing me money. I didn't do shit. I got to this house because of you.
You let Malon say some lying ass.
No, because you were flirting with 3 girls the whole time.
What 3 girls?
They've got to allow these in court. They've got to. I know that they're trying to get a lot of this stuff suppressed, but I just don't see how you can't play these. They've got 2 different videos, 2 different occurrences, 2 different arguments, 2 different times of the year that we have evidence. Well, maybe there's more than that of her hitting him like this.
What 3 girls? You?
Well, maybe it didn't matter. It was Milan.
Milan? I was with Milan?
And she's saying, hey, come get your mans. He's trying to come home with me.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
You're lying. She said, come get your mans that I was trying to hit on Milan. Come on, baby. Okay. That doesn't even sound right.
Christian, you're fired.
Fine.
Hopefully, shut up.
You will never see me again. You are the most
good.
Hopefully
you will let me.
Courtney.
Get the out of here. This isn't even my house.
Yeah, cool.
It's not my house. You're just like my boyfriend. Get the out of here.
Just like your boyfriend?
I can actually get down here.
And so that's.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to get back to it. You guys, I can't stand her flipping. What do you call them? Her weave or whatever. Ugh.
Did I touch your breast?
Do you see how indicate if he is.
No, you're telling me I touched her breast yesterday when I
You did. I didn't say you f***ing touched it.
You said I did.
You were leaning. Yo, you were dumb as I actually don't want to be with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Done. Because you're costing me money. I didn't do shit. I got to this house because of you.
You let Milan say some line ass.
No, because you were flirting with like 3 girls the whole time.
What 3 girls? What 3 girls? You?
Well, maybe
it
didn't matter.
You,
it was
you,
Milan.
Milan? I was with Milan?
And she's saying, hey, come get your mans. He's trying to come home with me.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
You're lying. She said, come get your mans that I was trying to hit on Milan. Come on, baby. Okay. That doesn't even sound right.
Christian, you're fired.
Fine.
Hopefully, shut up.
You will never see me again. You are the most
good.
Ever met in my life.
Hopefully, you will let me.
Courtney.
Get the out of here. This isn't your house.
Yeah, cool.
It's not my house. You're just like my boyfriend. Get the out of here.
Just like your boyfriend?
I can actually get done if you're not here.
Yeah.
Get the out of here.
Okay, I'll remember that next time.
Get out. No, that's not even the next time. Get the out. Get out.
Don't touch me again.
Good thing. Get out. Get out. You never loved me. The way you talk, the way that you treated the girls last night, you embarrassed me. I don't want anything to do with you.
I embarrassed you yesterday. You're really just self-conscious. You always talk about, oh, Christian, you like this. I say, what did I tell you before? You're the baddest person in this. No one has anything on you. I tell you this every day. I have text messages that you say, Christian, thank you for the content.
Shut up! But you don't do it the next day!
Why are you screaming? There's people in this house.
Get out, for real.
Yeah.
I never want to see you again.
Ooh.
The thing I don't understand is that JPC can't stand her voice. He's constantly building her up. He's constantly telling her how he loves her and, he puts her on a pedestal, all this and that. She's got 100% control. Yeah, Pam's like, she's a bit of a control freak. Yeah, you think? And it's like, she still is not secure in their relationship. It just kind of, it's really unsettling to me. Yeah, Mel, I think it's easy to say that she was, it's so easy after watching her in the elevator, in this video, and then in the things that she said, and even self-confessed of the things that she's done when she's mad. It's like, it's hard not to say, it's so easy to go there and say, yeah, she probably did. She's pretty much guilty.
Okay, Michael, give us some context, if you would, please. How close to Christian Upamseli's death did this incident happen?
Well, this was an incident in Aspen when they were in Aspen. And I will say, in the context of everything you've seen in this case, you gather all the police reports, the 911 records, at the apartment where this happened, this was prior to an Aspen, the elevator incident that actually happens at the Paraiso apartment.
Okay, so that's the only reason I put that there, is to tell you guys when that. So that was Aspen. That was when they were doing that OnlyFans kind of meetup. So what they would do is they would go to these different locations. That's also what they were doing in Vegas. At some point in time, they would turn it into a work thing where the girls would film. So apparently in Aspen, there were a bunch of different people. There was a lot of people there. And I don't know if they were all in the same house or if they had, they were just all kind of in the same area. I'm not really sure that setup, but yeah, and then of course we've watched previously where some of the girls that were around, they have spoken up a little bit, but I'm surprised we haven't heard more from them. It could be too that not a lot of women are as open about what they do on OnlyFans, and they just don't. They just kind of want to remain anonymous, I hate victim blaming, but Patty, I feel like, why didn't he leave? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I know we say this over and over again in these relationships. It's like, what keeps you there? Why would you even, He could have gone anybody he wanted. So the known texter, welcome. I think it's the first time I've seen you. Do you think maybe CC was on steroids or muscle enhancers? They are known to make someone have an explosive anger outburst. You know what? That wouldn't surprise me because I've always said that it's got to be more than just alcohol. And we know that they were also doing another drug that you sniff up your nose. So, you know, it was probably all of it together. And then they talked about going on binges and everything. And oh, Dredd thinks he hung around because she was a lot more than just that. She actually did a lot for him in other ways. Okay. And I know what you mean, but okay. Let's see. I think there are some that don't care, but there are a lot of women that like to stay anonymous with the OnlyFans stuff. So that's probably why. He loved her more than she loved him. I think so too, Pam, but I just don't know if it was if that is the way she loves. Because, she got into an altercation too, and she had a misdemeanor with one of her family members. I'm not sure which one. Oh, Dredd says that when you're doing that specific drug we talked about that goes up your nose, you can't get drunk. Really? I thought it was like an offset, like it would keep you awake. Like a lot of people would drink and take it because it would keep them awake and not, woozy or whatever from drinking. Okay, let's go on to this next video. Welcome back, by the way, Mel. We missed you. I hope you're feeling better. I cannot stress enough to you guys how some of this content might be disturbing. We are going to be looking at crime scene photos from the death of Christian Abumseli. These are all images from the apartment. So, please, viewer discretion. I have trimmed these a good bit, so there might be some pictures that you've seen out there that are actually missing because they were pretty graphic. As we all know, Courtney Clenney is currently in jail awaiting trial for second-degree murder. Here's a photo of them together. I'd like to make it known that her heels don't look too high in this photo. They're about the same height. And we have to remember that she's also was a bodybuilder. So I don't know if you take that whole woman versus man thing and put it into the mix, but I would think that the prosecution is definitely going to play on that, though. All right, let's get to these photos. Some of these we go through pretty quick. So if you go to play this back, you might have to put it in slow mode. All right. This is the outside area. If you go through this door right here, you will enter the foyer area to Courtney's unit. That foyer area is where the elevator opens up from the lobby. She had a little couch sitting there. And there's also, on the other side of it, is the actual entrance, the door to her unit. So she did have a separate door that was locked from her elevator. I wanted to stress that so people could understand that just because you got up to her floor didn't mean that you actually got into her unit. And of course, there's the outside elevator that many of the police use to the left there to get up to the unit. It was an alternate route. I think that is considered like moving in, moving out. What do they call those elevators? There's a name for them. Freight elevator. You moron. I'm just kidding. Outside of the building. We saw a lot of this in the body cam footage. It was secured. You had to have a key to get in the building, it looks like, from that way, which would make sense for security purposes. I guess that's what I documented that. Okay, so this specific door goes into the lobby area downstairs. But that was the same view you would get to if you were up on her balcony. Just wanted you guys to know that. I'm confused as to how there was blood in the elevator right here. But this was after they took him to the hospital. So it could have been that this was transferred via the paramedics. I'm not certain. We also know there was a lot of blood transfer from the dogs running around the unit. They had to carry him out in a body bag, even though he was still alive, just because there was so much junk in that apartment. They could not get a gurney in there to wheeled in there and then wheel him out on it. There was just too much trash everywhere, furniture. It was a mess. Some of this might be wear and tear, but not really sure, like just scuffs and stuff on the sides of the wall. And again, I'm not really understanding why they're focusing in on this because, again, it's in the elevator. I feel like that happened after the fact. Okay, so this is the exterior lobby. When we get into her unit pictures, it's going to get pretty graphic, so bear with us. Let me put on my banner. Another thing to note, she was only on the 22nd floor. She was not up at the very top, like some of us thought. I know I was one that thought. I think the reason they had that pulled out was to keep that door open. Well, no, not just that, though. To keep that door open, but to also get that couch. That was the couch that he had been sleeping on. And I think that was part of the blanket he was using out there in the elevator room foyer area. And I think they pulled it out so that they could get him transported into the elevator. I'm still confused as to why he hung around like he did when she told him to get out. He didn't have friends to go stay with or anything, you know? Or he could have just gotten a hotel room. I wonder if he'd have gotten a hotel room, if he would have ended up still being alive today. Now, if you see anything, these pictures cut off like that, that's from the police. That's not us doing that. It's her unit number. Okay, so this is the foyer area. So the couch was over to the right, so it's not going to have anything on it, right? But I don't know what's in that bag. It looks like trash. And again, this was people walking back and forth, back and forth. You got paramedics, you've got cops, you've got the dogs, you've got Courtney, barefoot probably. Yeah, she was barefoot. Back and forth. So that's why this is all strode everywhere the way it is. The only transfer that I believe he did was when he went into the bathroom at one point. You'll be able to tell. Now, this right here is the cops putting up their notice of a warrant to search the property. And it was signed by Courtney. I guess she kind of gave him access. See, I think all that has to do with the paramedics. But there's so much trash, you can't tell what's... There's a phone right there up to the upper right sitting on that counter. I think that was Courtney's because Christian's is the one that has the red cover on it. All right, this is her eviction notice that was posted on the door. We read this out in my last live stream. So if you missed it, go back and watch it. I can't imagine being a, you know, people say, well, why did they miss the laptop? Well, you could look here and see how they could have missed the laptop. There was so much crap in that unit. It's definitely not in any of these photos, so it must have been covered up by boxes or a blanket or something, or clothes. Jeez, there's no telling. Is that like just a, what was that area? I think that's a laundry room. I don't know what that is. It's one of the few places that looks clean when they came in. If you look at the elevator video we showed in my last video, he had on some kind of slides. He had socks with slides on. If you have that kind of money, why not just hire a housekeeper? Now, they've probably taken a lot of this stuff, pictures down and things, because they were trying to get ready to move. They only had 2 days to get out after on this day that this happened. They had 2 days left. Here, we're going to look at some marijuana that they have right there in that baggie. That was the Ring camera that she still had on. Let me go back just a smidgen. See it right there? That's the, remember when she was filming prior to everything happening? She left it on. This was, isn't that just eerie to think of? A random knife somewhere. No idea why. It's just sitting over there in that area. I don't know if they'd already started to pack or what. But obviously they had that. They definitely hadn't moved anything out of the apartment because there was just too much crap in there for them to have moved anything yet. But it looked like maybe they were in the process of getting ready to do that. Insane. That's her purse, her slides. I don't know what that green thing is. The kitchen area. We're going to focus in on this in another video, but you see where the butcher block is straight ahead? If you missed it, don't worry. We're going to dial in on that. Just cups laying everywhere. Is that trash? Is that paper towels? Or I think that's paper towels, not toilet paper. Again, you guys can slow this down if you want to go back and watch it. That's again. A handprint, which is really strange. Okay, see there's a knife right there, and then not far from it, there's a handprint. I think Christian pulled the knife out and was somehow crawling on the floor. That's the way I think of it. It's strange that you don't see a lot of smearing of the drippage of the blood. Somehow or another, though, he walked into the bathroom at some point and then walked back out because you see the drippage. Somewhere in the kitchen is where the stabbing happened. I don't know if it was on this side of the counter or the other side. I'm sure we'll learn all that in court. It's hard to tell, though, from the crime scene photos. See the drippage? Again, the blocks of knives. That's the butcher block she got when she went after him. Of course, the way their house was, there's no... Who says that it was sitting in the butcher block, you know? It could have been sitting on the counter. Nothing was in its place. I don't know why they're focusing in on the refrigerator, but they did. So I'm showing them. Looks like an eye mask. Did you guys notice the bongs everywhere? I'm thinking that's the corner where it happened. They didn't even have their silverware in the thing. Pay all that money for an apartment and you don't enjoy it because of all the trash everywhere. That probably made a big difference in the way that they felt, you know, living in that kind of mess. What is that? I can't figure out what that was. Was that a drawer? Okay, so here's a picture of them. You'll be able to see the next. There's a glare on it. There it is. Haunting. Okay, see the drippage here? So you could tell that he did somehow go into the bathroom. We're going to see more photos of that here in a minute. A lot of photos of the bathroom. It's going to be interesting to listen to crime scene techs talk about the way they followed the blood. Here's the bathroom. This is a room inside the bathroom. It's a strange setup, but I kind of wondered if that's where she did a lot of recording and stuff. And you know what, you guys, on one of these pictures, you still see that ring. The light ring that she was using for her Instagram recording. It was still on. It's kind of eerie. Okay, so here, see, this is in the bathroom. Of course, there's so much crap everywhere. I don't see how the detectives could tell what was what with all the crap. I would imagine it's a crime scene investigator's nightmare. I think he went in there maybe looking for something like a towel or something. This is all I can think. It's like she'd just come on. She had all these cute little outfits and stuff she had for her different shoots that she did when she had clothes on. And she just threw it everywhere. She just threw them everywhere. Wasted, ruined. Is that a dog toy? That looks like a dog toy. More drippage. And you're so into all these designer products that you don't take care of them when you get them. Oddly enough, the closet does look like it stayed well, except for the bottom. It looks semi-organized, but I see a lot of items that she wore in these pictures we've seen of her. It's another angle of the bathroom from the closet. There's the infamous letter that he wrote her. We're going to read that letter in another video coming up. They found it torn up right there in that drawer. I don't know if he tore it up or she tore it up, though. There's just so much clutter. Shit everywhere. The couch looks comfortable. Another angle of the kitchen. See, I wonder if she did shoots on that little mattress that's right there by the... I don't know, though. She didn't seem to care, like, if people saw how cluttered her house was when she took pictures. But I noticed they do a lot of pictures outside, too, though. But yeah, I'm thinking that mattress, that blow-up mattress right next to the shower was where she took some photos. I don't know. I could be wrong, though. Maybe they slept there. Okay. We're going to see a couple of images of her prescriptions. I think one was a antidepressant. I don't know what the other one was. Maybe like a muscle relaxer? I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Do y'all think that's their bed right there next to the shower? It is the master bath, but it seems like the master bedroom would be a lot bigger than that little space right there. I don't know where that was. That's the refrigerator. 3-day bender. Jesus. Like they're proud of it. There's her phone. That's where she was sitting when the police were holding her while they were trying to figure out what was going on inside the apartment. See, this is that little area right outside her unit on the patio. This is a broken knife, you guys. The blade is broken. Where is that from the previous incident, you think? Where she stabbed him in the leg? If you'll notice, the tip of it is bent. How many times did she pull a knife on him? That picture is going to come out in court. For sure, for sure. I don't know what that is. There's his phone. And we have images of him holding it in the elevator before all this occurred, so how it got down there, I don't know. He was wearing those Beats earphones, too, when he was in the elevator. That's just insane. That looked like splatter, doesn't it? I don't know. I just, it'll be interesting to hear the blood techs talk about how this stuff got everywhere. A lot of these are repetitive images. Again, another knife. One of those images, there was Subway on the counter. Another image, it wasn't there. I don't know. That looks like splatter. Is that where it happened right there on that? That's got to be where it happened, on that corner. That's where she did it. And if the bedroom is to the right, that would make sense where he carried the blood in. They pulled the knife out. He fell to the ground. And then she started holding him. See the handprint right there on the... That's got to be his handprint. Just trying to figure out what happened in that time, those minutes after all this occurred. If he took the knife out, would it have been spraying blood? I hate to say that. It's so graphic, but I don't know. Those are both her name, I think. Yeah, both of them are her name. Yeah, one of them is, I think, an antidepressant, and the other one was a muscle relaxer. There's his phone again. Her phone is, both their phones were beat up. Jeez. Tell somebody lives like that. You got all that money. And again, I think the whole thing about them talking about them owing rent, maybe she was past due on rent because she'd gotten, well, she only got a notice on March 29th, though. So she wasn't not paying rent because of that. There's no reason why they wouldn't have paid rent before then. It just doesn't make sense. They had the money. All right, that's it. Some of these we went through really fast, so if you want to go back through them and watch them in slow mode, you can do that. Okay. I'm going to go through some of y'all's comments while we were looking at those. I didn't want to put anything up on the screen to block the images. I don't know if they were completely past due on rent. I'm going to be honest. I think they were. I know based on the eviction notice she received that she was evicted because of the disturbances that she called. That they both caused. So I don't know if she was really past due on rent. I think it's common to think that someone being evicted is getting evicted because of being past due on rent, and that might be where that comes from. But I just don't know for sure. And we talk a lot about it a lot here, so again, we'll find out in court, I guess. As much money as she was pulling in, you mean to tell me she couldn't afford to have a cleaning service once a week or twice a week? I know, right? That's what I was thinking. If I had that kind of money, I would so hire somebody to clean my house, especially if I had a nice house like that. Start it from the get-go. Even if you're a slob like her, start it from the get-go, and they keep on top of stuff for you. But if she had hired somebody, they probably would have quit immediately. So there you go. I don't know. Pam says she had an amazing apartment, which she paid a fortune a month for, and she lived like a tramp. Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. Barbara brought up a good point. She said that the refrigerator images, many times criminals will keep their drugs stashed and cash and stuff like that in the refrigerator. I didn't even think about that. So Pam says, even if she threatened him with a knife, I bet he didn't think she would actually do it and then pull. Okay, yeah, I think so too. I think he had way more trust in her than she had in him, and he would never have thought she would have done him like that. But we don't know for sure that he was the one that pulled, or she was the one that pulled it out. Unless you guys saw something or heard something that she did. I don't remember seeing anything like that. And I also don't. I feel like he might could have done it. I mean, think about it. If that happened to you, wouldn't that be your first instinct? Mel's wanting to know where the money went, and Mel thinks that Daddy was on the payroll. I don't think he was on the payroll, but I do think that she was sending money to Mom and Dad for here and there, like little things here and there. But Mom and Dad were fine on their own, but I think they knew how much money she was bringing in for sure. I think they knew a lot more about her than the normal 26-year-old parents would know about a 26-year-old as far as like the income and stuff like that, because she seemed very dependent upon them to help her with everything. And then Pam said, well, people with money don't live like that either. That's true. And Patty said, I would hate to see the person who had to go in and clean that up. Well, they probably, part of the money that they had to spend was, she was probably charged for them having to come and all that up, I'm sure, right? So whether it was the police or the police probably did so much, and then they had to get an additional cleaning company to come in so that the landlord would be satisfied. And then you think about it, the dad said he had to get an attorney for when she moved out. And I'm thinking that the landlord was trying to charge her for the full 12 months. Probably so, because of the way that she was evicted. So they were probably arguing in court over a settlement there. And I don't know, there was probably some damage to the, I would think within all that we just saw, there was probably some property damage in there too. Had to have been, right? Lisa says that sniffy stuff that we were talking about earlier, that drug that does cause emotional outbursts. Okay, well, that's good. I didn't know that. But it's still not an excuse. Girl, Patty, if she gets a judge like Colin Griffiths has, I'm going to be so mad. Thank goodness it's a different county. Good gracious alive. You guys, if you haven't been with us, we've been watching that case this week. It's been the young teen who unalived his father and then a year later unalived his mother. The last several days we've been watching that trial, and the judge is just leaning very harshly toward the defense, and it's driving us all crazy. What'd you say, Laura? If you go back and look closer at some of the pictures Kerry put in here, you will find some interesting, weird stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there. That's kind of why I went through really quick. I don't want to get zapped or anything. So Laura's trying to keep me from being put in timeout. Yeah, so you're right, none you bits. None you bitness. I love your name. There are professional cleaners for crime scenes and people that come in and clean up after death situations. But I still think they would have had to hire someone in addition to that to clean up stuff that wasn't related to the crime. Because don't you think that the crime scene cleaners have to only focus on what occurred at the crime? I don't know. I don't know. He walks again. It looks like, yeah, Carly, see, we were looking at those pictures online of it, and it's a cool, very cool unit. I mean, the possibilities to be able to get in there and like clean up and I say get in there and just kind of put your furniture and figure out where you're going to put things. I mean, it was a cool space. It had a lot of cool things about that apartment that was just unique. And it wasn't just like a regular apartment. Oh, thank you, none your business. Can you imagine becoming the renter after that? Like the next renter, um, Laura said the first they can clear the house before they can rent it. Yeah. Okay. So I've got more. I'm not done yet. So I've been going through for several months now and picking out pieces of commentary that I felt was important for us to all listen to and discuss amongst each other here in chat and whatnot, of different things that people are saying about the case from a legal standpoint. Because as most of you already know, I'm not an attorney and I don't pretend to be one. So I can't bring you a lot of legal analysis, but I can try to bring you some stuff that I find that I think is relevant to the case. Hold, please. First, we're going to start with the discussion on Christian's autopsy and the discussion of the knife really quick before we get into that other stuff.
And how Christian Obumseli died. Dr. Hutchins determined that the cause of death was a stab wound to the chest and the manner of death was homicide. Okay. Specifically, though, he found that the victim was stabbed and the knife punctured the subclavian artery in his right chest. The knife entered in a downward angle to a depth of 8 centimeters.
Based on the information you received that the defendant was alleged to have thrown this knife, do your observations support that?
I'm not an expert in knife throwing. If the person who supposedly did this is an expert knife thrower and the knife is a type of knife that you can throw, I guess that could have happened.
He's talking about a downward angle of this knife. So downward means that she would have been in a dominant position relative to him if she was even capable of throwing this knife and exerting enough velocity and at the proper release point. This knife that you guys have done a great job. Production always does a great job with Court TV, by the way. This knife is actually a kitchen knife. This is not a throwing knife, which has a certain balance to it. People that throw knives know this. And so I think she's kind of reaching for something here, if you will. This knife actually clips the subclavicular artery. And if folks at home will find your collarbone right here, your clavicle, okay? There's a major artery that runs right beneath here. And I don't know if you recall, Vin, you could hear him, I think, on a 9/11 call. I have a memory of this where he's kind of drifting off. And I can tell you this, though we see a lot of blood at the scene, he would have had probably a chest full of blood as well. He would have literally been drowning internally within his chest. And it's a slow death. And you can hear him kind of gradually fading out, losing consciousness.
How much force does it take? And again, the knife punctured the artery in his right chest. The knife entered in a downward angle to the depth of 8 centimeters.
Yeah. So it's going to take quite a bit of energy in order to do this. And you have to think about, and if folks at home will just envision holding a knife, and if you're in a defensive position, for somebody that's not trained with knives, you might grip it so that the blade is running in this direction and you're stabbing. Just think of the old movie Psycho. And so you're stabbing like this. This gives you a downward trajectory. Even though in the image that you see of the two of them side by side, he's dominant. And even in the image in the elevator, in that moving image, he's significantly taller than her, and she's reaching up to punch him and to hit him and that sort of thing. Even in that motion like that, when she swings at him, you can see that is kind of demonstrative of a downward strike. So if she's holding a knife and she goes in like this, then she can do quite a bit of damage holding the knife. Not throwing the knife, though. It's going to be superficial at best. And certainly for somebody that might have her strength in order or lack of strength in order to be able to facilitate this. He's a big guy, Vin, and he's very thick through the chest, too. She would have come at him in a rage. As investigators, we look for what are referred to as weapons of opportunity, those things that are at your fingertips. It's not like she would have been walking around with a serrated kitchen blade in her hand. She essentially grabs this thing from the shelf, or maybe it's in a knife block, who knows, and begins to wield this thing. And as she's striking at him, you know, we can see her throwing hands, as folks say, in these moving images that are there. All you got to do is put a knife in her hand, and that will get the job done.
Are you surprised that they weren't able to save him here?
No, he would have had to have been at an emergency room. They would have had to have opened his chest and gone in and tied that vessel off. It's one of the most lethal areas, other than perhaps and I'm talking about the viscera of the chest, other than maybe a strike to the aorta or the pulmonary artery, hitting the subclave. You're in a real dangerous area there, Ben.
Was I muted? Was I muted again? What I said was, how did y'all hear anything I said? What I was saying is that I forgot what I was saying. Oh, when she's hitting him, she's not just trying to hit him on his arm or whatever. She's going into his head. She's trying to get him on the head. She's trying to pull his hair and really hurt him, you know? It's one thing to say, "Oh, she's just." No, it's not different. It's not different. Let me just correct that. But it's quite obvious she's trying to cause him a lot of pain. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sorry I was muted. Was I muted before too earlier when I was trying to talk as well? When I talked about how the what he just said earlier about how her fist coming down in the elevator trying to hit him in the head is the same exact motion as what would have happened the night of the event. And by the way, if you're new here, I talk quite frequently when I'm muted. It's just we've got our own little emoji there. Feel free to use it at any point in time. Okay. Where's the here's this other one I was telling you guys about where I want to hear what the legal experts are going to say about this case going forward. If I can flip and find it. I had it right here, I thought. Maybe when we're done with this, we can watch a few of my gambling videos. They're fun. And they'll make you feel better, I think, than this nasty stuff that we have to watch on true crime. I heard on the radio, by the way, you guys. Hey, Noni, good to see you. I was listening to the radio the other day, and I heard somebody say something about, do people that watch true crime, does it make them more anxious or does it make them more aware? And my answer to that was, oh, it definitely makes me more aware. But it also probably makes me a little paranoid too. You know? Here it is. Here's what I want to show you guys. So before I before I play that, what do you guys think? Do you think that watching so much true crime, does it make you anxious, more aware, paranoid? What are your thoughts? Laura said no comment. Laura, you've been through a different kind of thing, though. True crime, you've actually lived around actual true crime. Not most people have not done that. Aw, thank you, Route. Wait, need to go back and watch from the beginning. Yes, no room for you, buddy. Cute name. You need to go back and watch from the beginning. We showed a lot of stuff tonight. Depends on the case, Noni says. Patty says more aware, not paranoid. Aware for sure, Carly says. None your business says more aware. True Crime Junkie 83 says more. I'm definitely more in tune with my surroundings when I'm out. See, I am too. Louise says it makes me not want to tick someone off. Yeah, that's that's part of the whole awareness thing. It's like it makes you think twice before. You remember how I think I've said this before. Remember when you could actually have road rage and it would be okay to have road rage? You can't do that these days. You can't. And I'm talking about minor road rage. I'm not talking about major road rage. Okay, here we go. Let's get to this. That the parents did through TMZ, and I thought we'd watch that really quickly.
But the parents, Kim and Deborah Clenney, also sat down, I believe, for an interview with TMZ. Take a listen.
I do think it may have been mutually physical, but you have to remember that he weighed, what, 230 pounds? And she weighed 150.
Did she ever tell you she feared he would kill her?
Yes, he almost did. A couple weeks before that, she said that she was passing out. He was strangling her, and she said that it was going through her mind, oh my gosh, my mom's going to have to plan my funeral.
Now, of course, the parents of Courtney Clenney want to claim that that elevator video is completely misstrued. That Courtney was trying to keep him from coming in the elevator. She didn't want him up in her apartment. Here's what they said in a statement.
That elevator went directly to her landing to go into her apartment. She had a $12,000 a month apartment where the elevator goes straight to hers, right? And you can see how desperate she is for him not to follow her. She's trying to push him off the elevator because she doesn't want him to come in. And you can see he's like a rock. Her trying to push him out, and she can't push him out. And I think the people shown that video do tend to cut out the part where he has her in a headlock. Okay.
Now, let's listen in on what a retired judge's thoughts were on what the parents' take is.
Well, Vinny, here's what I think. I think the mom was probably parroting maybe something she's heard by way of strategy from the defense attorneys, right? Especially since she and her husband now need their own. The fact of the matter is that, you know, you're going to have to really sell a story to a jury not to believe their lying eyes. If the idea is that this elevator encounter that takes place starts with her holding the elevator door, waiting until he gets on the elevator, not pushing him off or keeping him off of the elevator, but the aggression starts only after they're both on and the door is closed, it's a pretty hard sell that she's desperately trying to get him off of the elevator. This isn't mutual combat where they're both fighting. It at least looks like he's trying hard to restrain her from hitting him. And that's going to be a really tough hill to climb for the defense. So I can see why mom would say that, but I don't think she fully appreciates the really difficult task the defense has in defending that.
While everyone on Vinny's panel tonight agree about what this video evidence does show and how harming it's going to be for the defense, the Palm Beach County defense attorney did say this about that one incident that occurred just days before Christian's death.
Yeah, it helps her. It actually is the first time I've seen a video that perhaps helps her where all the other ones seem to hurt her, where you see other instances where she is the aggressor and he is much more of a pacifist. So I think maybe this is the first time I've seen it. But of course, it's what she says. These are self-serving comments. And in the end, her whole case is self-serving because there were only two people there the night of the murder, and one of them is dead. And, you know, with her parents, yeah, they're being charged too. So I don't give them too much credibility. And as the judge says, essentially the parents and the defense lawyers' whole defense is, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?
Vinny then goes on to get a take from trial attorney Ann Bremner.
You know, in self-defense cases, usually the state has to prove the absence of self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. I think that's the case in Florida. And that's hard to prove a negative. But then again, as the first aggressor that we see here in the elevator video, she doesn't have a right to resort to self-defense if she's the first aggressor. But finally, with kind of the battered women syndrome, which is an imperfect self-defense, if I were defending her, that's what I would use.
Yikes. I don't know if I agree with that. In fact, I know I don't agree with that. There's just no way. Now, the unfortunate thing is when these people were interviewed, they probably had not heard the audio tape. They didn't hear everything that was going on with this. So sometimes you have to take these interviews with a grain of salt. But it's always nice to get the professional's point of view when it comes to this stuff. Okay, let's read this whole portion that we can see right here. This is written by Clenney's attorneys, and it's referenced Courtney Clenney press release. It is a shame that the state attorney's office is seeking to win this case in the court of public opinion by showing an irrelevant and likely inadmissible video of Courtney in an elevator getting physical with Obumseli. The video does not depict the events leading up to what was captured in the elevator. Obumseli was the abuser, the worst kind of abuser. He would manipulate and abuse Courtney in private when he thought nobody was around. Do not forget that the initial investigation from the City of Miami Police Department uncovered an independent witness who saw Obumseli hitting Courtney in the head while he thought he was in the privacy of Courtney's apartment. Nobody has ever denied that Courtney and her abuser had a tumultuous relationship. It is inappropriate for prosecutors to try and taint the community against Courtney to the point she may not be able to receive a fair trial. The charging decision in this matter should have been made on the evidence of what occurred that evening in the apartment and nothing more. This is a case of self-defense, and the facts that will be presented in court will prove this. I might have read this to you guys before, but since we were looking at this again, I wanted to read the whole thing. Now, this is the response that Frank Prieto, Courtney's attorney, gave to Court TV when they followed up with him for a response. He said, "As you can imagine, things have been hectic, but I can offer the following statement. We are completely shocked at Courtney's arrest based upon the clear evidence of self-defense in this matter. Obumseli attacked her and choked her that evening. Courtney had no choice but to meet force with force. Further, we are disappointed that the state attorney sought an arrest warrant in this matter. We have cooperated with the investigation from the beginning with both the state and the City of Miami Police Department. We have always offered a self-surrender if charges were filed in an effort to begin the legal process of clearing her of the charges. Courtney was seeking treatment for her PTSD and related issues to this case, and it is an absolute injustice to charge a victim of domestic violence and human trafficking with a crime. Courtney was clearly defending herself. We will vigorously defend Courtney and clear her of this unfounded and baseless charge." So, some of the attorneys had some really strong statements to say about this. But I did want to make one note with you guys. Probably the reason why they did not give the lawyer a heads up that she was being arrested was because they did not want her to flee. And at that point in time, they knew she had millions, and they weren't sure if she would, if given a heads up, would have taken off because she was already kind of out of their reach, being in Hawaii.
Now, Clenney is finding that her fame has a downside.
Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did.
Her formal arraignment on that murder charge, Clenney waived her right to appear in court, but her attorney entered a not guilty plea on her behalf, and a trial date was set. Take a look.
Beginning with page 1 of our calendar today, Courtney Tailor Clenney, set for arraignment date.
Good morning, Your Honor. Philip Burnett, State Florida.
Good morning.
At 2214137, State Florida previously filed the following information on August 4th, 2022, charging defendant Courtney Tailor Clenney with 1 count of murder in the second degree with a deadly weapon and life felony.
I got an interview with Sabrina Pagasti.
Yes, good morning, Judge. Frank Vieto on behalf of Ms. Clenney. I also have written pleadings, Frank Vieto on her behalf. Ms. Puglisi and I are co-counsel on this matter.
And can you stand on those written pleadings previously filed?
We'll stand on our written pleadings, not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Except for sounding 12-8, set for trial 12-18, you said? 19. 12-19. All right, thank you.
I love this attorney. And I love how right here she brings it out. She's like, he's gone down a road he cannot turn around on. Talking about them bringing up this human trafficking thing, like came out of nowhere. I was waiting to hear what an attorney's thoughts are, and it's perfect that she's the one that responded.
It sounds like her attorney's going to go the way of self-defense, going as far as claiming she was a victim of human trafficking, she was a victim of domestic violence, and that domestic violence happened in private. And we know that's the way it happens, but I want to get your thoughts on whether you think that's going to fly, that defense in this particular case.
He should retract that, because once you open that door, once they say charges of human trafficking, all that stuff is relevant. I'm looking at her DMs. I'm looking at the text messages with other guys. I'm looking at all things that aren't relevant to the actual murder, but are relevant to this human trafficking. So what they're trying to do is make the actual victim, make the actual victim like the most evil person ever, and they're not going to win. What that does is it just opens the door for the prosecution to just hammer her in. So I strongly always suggest that attorneys do not do press conferences for that particular reason. You do not want to open the door for all that information to come in and not help her defend herself. The moment that you put the sexual trafficking is the moment they shot their foot clear off.
Even if there is proof that there was some domestic violence on the part of the victim in this case, we've got this elevator video. It shows some pretty, the fact that he has restraint under those circumstances, I think, speaks a lot to begin with. But Nima, your thoughts on that elevator video, how that's going to play into the entire defense's narrative?
I love the elevator video for the prosecution. I mean, it doesn't really get better than that. Look, let's just be real. This is an attractive white female defendant, and you have a male black victim. So that's something that we just got to be cognizant of. But, if Courtney's going to pull off a Daniel Redlick, she has to do a very good job making this victim turn out to be a monster. There was a lot of evidence in this case. The kids testified against their own father. So she has to take the stand or have very good witnesses that are going to take the stand for her and substantiate this domestic violence and these human trafficking allegations. Absent that, between her 911 call, the evidence that shows that she stabbed him at close range and didn't throw the knife like she claims she does, as well as, all the other admissions. I mean, there's videos that she posted on social media after the murder. It's going to be a tough self-defense argument for Courtney and her team.
He asked her, he said, with all these other things coming in, there is some stuff that the witnesses and whatnot, there is some stuff that the defense has in their favor. Here's her response.
Not really. So at first I was kind of upset with the prosecution letting her, go around and just living her life. But they actually gave her enough rope to hang herself with. You can deny bond because she was found in Hawaii. You can really just set it up. And she did. The prosecution did a beautiful job of just allowing her to social media while they figure out the facts of this case. We have a black man with a white woman and domestic violence. The numbers should shock you. It happens so often because a black man can't call the officers like the white woman can. And the idea that all the abuse happened in closed doors so nobody saw it. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound type thing? It's not going to work. But, if I was defense, I'm looking into a plea deal because this case is pretty bad.
Vinny interviewed one of the writers at the Miami Herald who has been following this case from the beginning. This interview was early on in the case. There was still a lot that was unknown, but it is interesting to hear his take on it from back then.
Why were they together? Was there any indication on why they remained together? Because, I've spoken to neighbors from Texas. They were fighting in Texas, yet they're still together. Any indication? Have you been able to figure that out through your investigation?
I think when you read their text message strings, it's a lot of, sort of a dependence, whether it's emotional and maybe in Christian's case, financial dependence on each other. So, they profess to not like each other anymore, that it's over, don't talk to me anymore, don't call me anymore, particularly in Courtney's case. And then it's, something bad happens, the blow up happens, and then it's the same pattern of, I'm sorry, you don't deserve that, we can make this work. Yeah, I think there is definitely an issue with Courtney and substances, right? I mean, the police in this video you're showing right now, where she's in the lobby of their apartment building, they suspected that she was intoxicated, right? You read the text messages, and they're often talking about doing cocaine and buying drugs and going out and partying, and it almost to the exasperation of Christian, because he seems to sort of be going along with it because she wants to be.
Over the past week, we've watched the evidentiary hearing for Courtney Clenney. This is what her attorney said immediately following.
Out of respect for the process involved in this Arthur hearing, we're not going to make any comments until the conclusion of the hearing. So Thursday, after we believe the hearing will be concluded, then we'll make some comments. But for now, out of respect for the process, we have no comments.
Do you feel optimistic?
Thank you. Always optimistic. Always optimistic. Look forward to vigorously defending her.
This was a particular interesting take on the bruises that comes from Joseph Scott Morgan. Now remember, Morgan's considered one of the leading experts in the coroner system in the United States. In my video that I did earlier for members only, I had mentioned that it would be interesting to hear a crime scene expert, a blood expert, talk about what occurred that evening after he was stabbed and where he went throughout the house. We have an idea of that, but there's just so much, and not just the blood evidence. There was so much trash in that house. Is it going to keep them from being able to really put together a timeline or trace the steps?
I saw those images that the lawyer put up the other day with the bruises, the green and yellow bruises, the receding bruises that they put up. I don't see any evidence that she sustained any kind of bloodletting event. She no insults where she's bleeding out and you've got a commingling of blood. And you can look at the blood stains on the floor, the swipes, the wipes, where you're dragging through. There's a great image of that yellow receding bruise that they demonstrate, I think, as being fresh. That's, you look at a bruise like that, that's at least 5 days downrange. We use those in child abuse cases. So I don't know what they were attempting to prove with those. But to the point of the blood, yeah, you can talk about some of the activity that he stepped in it, tracked it around. But look, if any of us are gasping for breath, we feel our life slipping away from us, we're trying to get help. Yeah, he's bleeding out. He's stepping in his own blood. It just paints an even more horrific picture that the blood expert is going to get up there and talk about. And it's going to be a real hard hill for the defense to climb, I think.
Many of us, I know I've said it, you guys have said it in the comments and in chat, who pulled the knife out? Number one. And number two, because she waited so long to call 911, is that what caused his death? He bled out. Did he bleed out because she didn't take action right away? This is a good take that we get here from Joseph Scott Morgan.
I think that's going to be hard to prove. Initially, she had stated that she threw the knife at him, and I got to tell you, this is not a thrown knife event. The chief medical examiner stated that it was a 6-inch blade that passed through his chest 3 inches and clipped what's referred to as the subclavian artery or the subclavicular artery, which is just a fancy way of saying beneath the collarbone. And this is significant because this artery, if you're in distress and they roll you into the emergency room, they go directly into that artery to put an IV in because it's the quickest way to get drugs into your body. He would not have had a chance, even if he had had a team of cardiothoracic surgeons standing by. She clipped this vessel and he began to bleed out. And most importantly, the ME is saying this is a downward path. That means that she took the knife and drove it down like this into his chest. This is not straight on or anything like that. I think that this is going to, second degree fits this, in my opinion, at least. When I saw that knife laying on the floor in that blood, the first thing that struck me is possibly if she had left that knife in place, he would have had a better chance. You know what they say, if you're impaled or something stuck within you, don't remove it. She signed his death warrant. If she's the one that did it, remove that knife. I can't imagine any EMT removing that knife from his chest because they're trained to do different. When she pulled that out of there, he began to bleed out profusely.
Now, we've heard from this attorney before, but Vinny's brought her on. I think we heard from her when she was talking to Law and Crime. And we get a little bit more insight about what the family knew about Courtney. Had they met her, that kind of stuff. So let's listen in.
Did they have any idea the level of violence in this relationship and what was happening?
Unfortunately, when you have domestic violence like this, of this nature, it's very common when the male is a victim of domestic violence that the family is not going to know that, because that's what really plays into it. When males are victims of domestic violence, it's not something that they really are, unfortunately, proud of. So it's something that they are going to hide and downplay because, you know, it's not common. If you're a male, you have that kind of, personality that you don't want people to know that this horrific thing is happening. So it did come as a surprise to the family because Christian had started moving kind of further away from the family as the relationship with Courtney had progressed. And now they understand why, because he was hiding this from them and they would have tried to put an end to it and stop it. And he unfortunately was just in this kind of endless cycle that he was not able to rid himself of until the worst tragedy that could happen unfortunately occurred.
Did the family ever meet Courtney? Did he ever bring her around? I don't know, holidays, birthdays, visits? Did they ever see them together? Did they ever meet her?
That was actually one of the strange things in their relationship. You know, Christian was very, very close with their family. But as soon as he had started dating Courtney, he did start to pull away from the family. And they hadn't met her. They knew about her, but he didn't bring her home to holidays. He started spending the holidays with Courtney instead of coming home. And the family did start to see that distance.
Did the family have any idea what Courtney did? And I'm not judging people allowed to make money however they want to make money in this world, as long as it's legal. But did they know what she was doing to make money in all of this? Did they have any idea that was going on?
I think, again, the details of that might not have been completely known. I mean, they of course saw her on social media, him on social media, but the details specifically, I think that's something that look, Christian was a grown man at that point, so they weren't asking him all of those details of his life. As long as they thought was happy and healthy, they were letting him live his life.
I don't know if I read it or I heard it in another interview that's been more recent that the family was aware that she was an OnlyFans model. But I just don't remember if it was something that was solid information. I don't know if the family is going to be able to come in and say they saw this or they saw that, because unlike with the Sarah Boone trial, they didn't see them together, I don't believe. So that's going to be a little different. I think probably the heaviest witnesses in this case are going to be the people that worked at that condominium association and surrounding the condominium association. And who knows, possibly there might be somebody that was considered a friend or worked with them on set and actually speak up in trial. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough call. Are any of these women that were around and they saw them together, they saw some of these fights when they went on vacation with them to do these shoots, are any of them going to stand up and say anything? Okay. Well, that's what I had for you guys tonight as far as just going through the different pieces. And what I'd like to know from you guys is, there are some witnesses, there's at least two I know, that have said that they saw Christian strike Courtney. I want to know if you guys think their testimony is going to be helpful to the defense. If you were if you were the prosecutor, what would you do to rebut what they, any kind of witness like that they brought up? I think there's multiple things, and I know you guys have put tons of stuff in the chat about the different size that all this and that. But I think for me, it's like, I know one of the witnesses said he saw it from another building. So you have like a huge distance, and it would just, to me, it'd be almost impossible to see exactly what was going on. And the prosecution could even take that tape from TMZ, or maybe the defense could. I don't know. Maybe it could be used against them to help them with it. But, we have that video from the other building onto the balcony the day that this all occurred. And the police were on the balcony with Courtney. And that kind of gives you an idea of technically how far away, like the distance, because before they even zoom in, you could tell that's a big distance, right? So that could hurt one of them, because it was one of the gentlemen in the other building that had said he saw something. And then also, I think too, the substance abuse, because a couple of people had mentioned that she seemed strung out or something. So they need proof. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to show some proof. If they want to fight this, there's too much. There's no way, from everything that we've seen, there's no way going into court that she's not going to be found guilty. So I guess my thing is, I know that that the defense is going to bring in these two guys that are going to say, yeah, we thought they were being abusive or whatever. Actually, I think there was 3 of them. Well, I know a lot of us don't believe the peeping Tom next door, but I'm just saying, like, he could still be heard from the jury or by the jury, Laura says, one thing I'm waiting to see is when this goes into trial, if any other private videos will come out, because with all the comments from neighbors, I'm sure they are being recorded. Well, you remember there was that one video. It was one piece of audio that we had, and I had it in the video where I did the 911 call or whatnot. And it was somebody else's Ring doorbell that could hear all of the yelling and screaming right before it happened. So it's highly possible that there's going to be more of that come in. Now, the one problem is that they had that little it's kind of a private entrance. So it's not like they had somebody just next door to them, unfortunately. But the fact that these are block buildings, and I have a feeling that Ring doorbell, I don't know if it was coming from the same floor or below or above. There's no telling. It could have been too, you might could have heard, if you were on like the balcony, you might could have heard them down below too, because of all the windows and whatnot. They are hurricane-proof windows, though. I can't wait till this goes to trial, you guys. And I can't wait till they finally tell us when it's going to trial. I think we've been waiting quite some time, and that's the whole point of us, just now getting into this case, is because we wanted to kind of get into it while it was in trial, and we didn't want to get into it while we were doing the Sarah Boone case, or I didn't anyway. I wanted to give each piece their own attention, and I think we've done that. So when I end this stream, you guys are going to get sent over to the stream, the link for our thing on Monday morning. So I hope you guys can join us if you don't have to work. Please come and join us.
Yes, it would be nice. Thank you all for behaving tonight. Makes my job so much easier.
Y'all have a blessed evening. Have a great Sunday. And I will see y'all on Monday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.